You are live?
Are we live? Hello?
Yes.
Is this thing on? Sugar Sean, can you hear me?
I can hear you, Bob.
We
So,
are the technologically disadvantaged, brother. We have no idea what we're doing. Thank God we have people that do because
yeah.
we're still catching up to the 90s, bro. But welcome, everybody. We're going to let some people get on board here. We do understand it's a Friday and it's an afternoon, so that's cool.
Yes. It's also
Um,
holiday weekend, by the way.
Holiday weekend, of course. Labor Day is upon us, Sean, but
Labor Day
as we're
for the
waiting for
working
some
man.
people to pop on here, lots of subjects going on, Sean. The Olympia is drawing near, and no shortage of news that's out there. Most notably, Romania is going on as we speak. That show taking place in Romania, and I believe it's an Olympia qualifying event, and they have a few Olympia events themselves. However, there is no open men's bodybuilding there. Italy Pro is their next qualifier, Sean, and they are in short supply. That's coming up September 7th September 7th in Italy. You got Quint Beastwood, you got Urs Kalasinski making his pro debut in the open division. Mark Hector, Sergio, Leo Legule. I've seen a bunch of names on there, sizing up to be a pretty good show.
Well, it's interesting because if if Urs goes in there and wins on his first attempt at Open Pro Bodybuilding, that's going to send a message to a few of the guys he's competing against. Because if I'm quitting Beastwood, man, there's going to be some reevaluating to do. I mean, Urs is not a bona fide bodybuilder per se. And we know this would be what Clinton's third show of the year already. It'd be his third shot.
Yeah, I think that's going to help him though. His
Yeah,
confidence is through the roof. He's out there training with Samson. That's a good big brother to be training with en
for
route to your
sure.
own show. So Samson lending him the helping hand out there. That's only going to enhance his physique. The kid's put together, and but I think it's going to come down between those two. With all due respect to
Well,
the other competitors, I think Urs is going to shock a lot of people.
I'll tell you, it's a career-ending show for your boy Sergio if he doesn't go out there and really make some waves. The guy's he's got to be north of 40 by now. We've been waiting for him to arrive for quite some time. It's been a minute since he's basked in the limelight. If I'm not mistaken, was his last victory like the New York Pro some years ago? Um, but he came out to California not too long ago, I think 2 years ago, and was like third. But he's a promise that we're still waiting to be delivered, right? I mean, this guy's been around for a hot minute, and this is not the strongest lineup. And the question is, if you win, do you go to the Olympia? You know, I mean, you're only as good as the guys you stand next to and beat.
Well, listen, anybody who wins this has to go to the Olympia. That's a given. I don't care what the circumstances. If you ain't going on a show this late for the early surprise for the early bird special for next year, here's some comments that are starting to roll in. Here's our buddy Ron Harris. Ron, you know we love you, man. He says if you want to send me a link, I'll be happy to. Uh, I'll be happy to show and prove that I do have nuts.
Ron has not Ron Harris.
Yeah, it's Ron Harris. Yeah,
Ron Harris from Muscular Development Days.
yeah. It's because we
Ron
gave him a
is
little
about
bit
as
of.
PC as they come. I want to see these nuts. Show me
No,
these nuts
listen,
you're talking about.
you know what? Listen, Ron, great you're tuning in. Yeah, we love you like a big family. So yeah, we give each other a little jab here and there about different things. And hey, listen, personally, Ron, congratulations to you. He left that dirty show. He's the guy that just did not fit in over there. And of course we're talking about Muscle Discord, Matt and his merry band of fools over there. The island of misfit toys,
Well, he
as
showed
I've
us he
heard it
had nuts by
referred.
doing that. That's a nut. That's a ballsy move. So that was pretty good.
Here's my boy Kenson on there. What's up, Bob and Sean? Kenson, that's EP09 for those that have seen me and Sean have both been on his show numerous times. I know it's amazing. Every time we go on somebody else's show, the host actually takes shit from their own people because they get an opportunity to hear that what we're speaking is truth, and what we're
Yeah.
speaking is, and it's not our truth, because I hate that phrase with a passion. There is no your truth. There's the truth, and then there's your opinion.
Yeah.
And we speak the truth, and we give our opinion. But some people think that we shouldn't have an opinion, Sean.
Well, I mean, we come from the magazine days, Bob, where the fans could not instantaneously chime in with an opinion. Kind of like going to a movie. You can't just give your review instantly as you walk out the movie theater, right? There's a process. There was a process. You had to go back, put a pen to paper or type it in, lick the envelope, send it off in the mail. However long it takes, you got to wait for the editor to open that envelope, read it,
Right.
and then try to decide whether it's worthy of being published in a magazine that would come out 3 months later. So you have that fan athlete connection. Nowadays, any Tom, Dick, and Harry with a keyboard or a cell phone can chime in with their opinion instantaneously. It's up to you to decipher whether or not you want to give those opinions any weight. Now, do I want to give a guy who, I don't know, starts a podcast with his cell phone 7 months ago and gets a bunch of followers? Do I want to give him the authority to tell me what I'm actually looking at? And he doesn't go to shows. He didn't compete on the biggest stage. He's never been an MC. He's never been a national USA champion. He's never done commentary, but he found a niche with a phone and a podcast. Do I want to give him, is he the authority, the expert opinion, or the guys that got 40 years experience? It's all a matter of taste. What did Ronnie Coleman say at the 2001 Olympia, Bob? Ronnie Coleman said, yeah, Sally likes orange and Jill likes, and I like strawberry. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. But at the end of the day, where you get your information is going to determine whether or not it's going to be valued to you. I know that I watch certain talking heads because they're experienced and they know what the hell they're talking about. Others,
Well, here's the
like
question. I'm gonna pitch you the question actually that I keep getting, and maybe you can shed some light on this, Shawn. Probably better coming from you than me. There seems to be an argument out there as whether I am actually entitled to an opinion because I MC the Olympia. So for some odd reason, there's this weird thing lately. Even though I've been doing this will be my 20th year, and you and I started this thing way back in 2005, 6, right? Yeah. So let me ask you, Shawn, should I be entitled to an opinion on the state of bodybuilding and shows and competitors and all that, and still be able to MC the Olympia? Are they just two different things?
Yeah, I mean, there's got to be separation of church and state, right? When you're on a podcast talking the sport that you cover, about the athletes that you know,
right?
You should be able to give your opinion because you are not standing at the microphone with thousands of people following a script that you didn't write, reading results that you didn't score, talking to athletes that come from around the world that you have very little to do with because they live outside the United States. So you've got to be able to understand, does Troy Aikman, does Tom Brady have a platform to commentate on the NFL? I mean, they played the game, they're retired. Should they not be able to talk of what they see, what they've known for 20 some odd years, in your case, 40 years? Yeah, I think you have to have the discernment, and the kids today don't. You have to have the discernment that you're not seeing when you're on a podcast.
You've seen all 20 of the Olympias I've done, and every Olympia since in modern era that we've been able to go to. Have you ever seen me one time make a comment about an athlete or my personal opinion while I was on stage at the Olympia? Have you ever seen me do any rolling commentary on the Olympia stage about anybody?
No, that's not the place. You got to remember, I also emceed the Mr. Olympia, so I know the format. And you follow a script, and you're on a timeline. So they're paying you to do the job.
Yeah. Well, so here's some stuff. So here's our boy Matt coming in right on cue. This is Matt from Discord, everybody. We were expecting him to come on. I'm sure he hasn't slept all night. Here's the question, Shawn. Bob, will you apologize to the Masters Olympia competitors and IFBB pro Walter Martin? Here's your answer, Matt. No.
Apologize for what? I mean,
that's my question, Shawn. What am I apologizing for?
Well, listen, if I watch a crappy football game, these are highly paid individuals that are professionals that probably started at Pee-wee level, had to get out of college, got a big money contract to play and entertain us for 18 weeks out of the year. If I watch a crappy football game, I can call it for what it is. If I watch a crappy heavyweight championship fight, I can call it for what it is. Let me take you back to 1980. Mr. Olympia, Sydney, Australia. A subpar Arnold Schwarzenegger shows up looking nothing like he did 5 years out of retirement. Someone has to win the show. The judges chose him as the winner. All right, he's the winner, but he looked like crap to me. It was the worst version of Arnold Schwarzenegger ever. Am I not entitled to say that?
Well, listen, we made our comments. We didn't think it was a great lineup. I don't think anybody would disagree. We said there was no superstars in the show, which there weren't in terms of big names.
There were no stars in the show.
There was no Brandon Curry. There was no William Bonac. There was nobody coming out of retirement that used to be a superstar. But even more specifically, Why would he apologize to Walter Martin? First of all, I didn't even know who Walter Martin was. I think I
still
did
don't know who he is.
a show he was in. It might have even been the Masters from 2 years ago, but seems like a nice guy, but I don't know him. Didn't even realize he was in the show, but I don't understand, like, what would the apology to him be? In any specific, like I'm at a loss as to, like, what am I apologizing for?
Well, let me remind you, Bob, that a lot of the shows that we watch, a lot of the shows that we commentate on, we don't know the athletes. Just because we're reviewing them doesn't mean that we have to have their bio and their history and have followed their career. Most of the guys, I don't even know where they got their pro card at, okay? If we're going to talk specifically about the Masters Mr. Olympia, hear me clear. There were no stars in that show. Most of that audience in Japan had never seen these bodybuilders before, let alone know where they even come. We're in Tokyo. I guarantee you that half the audience, if not more, didn't even speak English. And they weren't there for the Masters Olympia guys competing in the show. They were there because they're fans of the sport. That out of the way. It's not offensive to not know who the players are on the football field. What's important is how they play. In bodybuilding, what's important is, what are we reviewing? We reviewed the exact same thing that the rest of the world was watching on pay-per-view because we weren't in Japan. Pictures don't lie. Videotape has a certain look to it, but we're all looking at the same thing. If it's a great show, I'm the first one to say the athlete was great, the show was great, the venue was great, everything's great. But if it's not, am I the bad guy because I say I'm looking at the garbage? I'm looking at a B-tier show. The guys aren't that good. If they're not that good, why should I be penalized for saying the words that they're not that good? How about this? How about this? Stop talking about the loser and start talking about the guy that actually won the show. I haven't heard anything. Nothing. Crickets.
Jesus.
You're on.
Okay, sorry about that. Some spam call came in. I don't know who Mr. Spam is, but so here's some more questions here. Here's Ron again. Oh, hang on, we gotta go. So, here's our buddy. Speaking of the dream team over there, Team Delusional. Here's our boy Christian Duke, Strength Addicts. People,
Hang on, they're coming too fast.
hang on. We got so many coming in. They're going fast. People are allowed to disagree. Look at the Masters Pro World, Bob, where Pavel wiped the floor with Bob, but Bob still won.
Bob, you got the trophy? You got the trophy, right?
Yeah, that's that would be this right here. I don't know if
Let me ask you a question, Bob. Did
See that
you
there?
ask did you ask the judges to give you that, or did they decide you won it and they gave it to you?
Bro, I can answer. I think a call came in from Pittsburgh in the middle of somewhere between prejudging and the finals.
Yeah.
I think actually I was in third and Pavel was winning. Interestingly, Pavel wasn't even second in the show. I believe Johnny Stewart was, if I remember. But I'm glad Chris. You know what's funny about these guys is they all have the same thing in common. Matt, Christian, what's his name? I'm forgetting his name already. Bill Clayhar, right? All these through. Again, the island of misfit toys. They all found themselves on one island, but they all have the same thing in common, which is why I call them Team Delusional. Not one guy over there can assess a physique. Yeah. Christian fits right in. So you thought Pavel won? Listen, I love Pavel as a competitor back then. He wasn't anywhere even close to me in terms of competing, but I'm not going to dispute
as an athlete, as a champion, you have the award some 20 years later. Dorian Haywood won the Masters Olympia. It's not the most controversial show in the world, and it might have been very close on the scorecards. How come these guys aren't talking about the judges instead of the guys that are agreeing with the outcome of the actual show? I don't know.
Great point, Shawn. And here's my question back to Matt. He maybe can answer this in his spare time. I know he's got plenty of it. Matt, where's your apology to Dorian Haywood? Yeah. Because all you guys have done is shit on this guy, tainting his win, his victory, right? Dorian didn't judge, right? So why do you take away from him? You talk about insulting. All they've said is that he shouldn't have won. And if politics were involved, Shawn, and all this. So they take away from this kid at 40 years old, his victory, right? That he won the show. Where's his apology? We talk about being negative.
I don't really think there's a lot of outrage. For Matt, his friend is Phil, right? They do a show together. He's emotionally connected. It's like you defending your wife. It's like Phil's wife defending him. We expect that. But what they're doing is they're attacking the talking heads who have an opinion, educated opinion. I haven't heard them talk once about any freaking judge. I heard Phil say that Steve's mouth opened wide. Well, guess what? He's one judge. Do you know who the other judges were? Because I've never even heard them talked about. If
Well,
you're
here's
going to
the fun.
attack the commentators, if you're going to attack the talking heads, go attack the judges that picked the champions. It's ridiculous.
Well, our buddy Matt wanted to put a petition out there, bro, because he wants to be removed, Sean, from the MC podium after all these years because apparently I was in charge of judging. Where's the petition to remove Steve and Sandy, our two top Olympian judges, that apparently this grave injustice took place? Hang on a second. We got more stuff coming in.
Sean's getting phone calls. You back on, Sean?
Sean's getting phone calls.
Yeah.
Hang on. Ron Harris just did an interview. He's got a new show out, everybody. Go support Ron. Everybody thinks once again, we throw some good stuff back and forth. Everybody thinks we don't like Ron. I did a nice interview with Dorian, actually. So we had the winner, actually, Sean, the winner of the Masters Olympia on Dorian Haywood. So good for him. Bob, petition to get Bob fired. What a joke that is. Could Dexter do Masters?
Well, Dexter already did the Masters and won $100,000. Listen, the epitome of ridiculousness is doing the same thing and expecting a different outcome. He's almost 50 some odd years old, or he is probably 50 years old. He's got nothing else to prove. He's the winningest bodybuilder in the history of do you think Arnold should come back and defend his 1980 championship?
Well, listen, just to hop in quick, we're going to try to answer these quick, people, because we got a lot of stuff coming and piling up. Listen, we would love to see a Dexter, a Brandon Curry, a William Bonac, again, all these names. They got to reformat this thing so those type of guys have an incentive to go in, whether that's bigger prize money, it's here in the States. Muscle Discord needs to stop promoting negativity and cancel culture. Agreed. Bob wasn't a top pro, but at the 2002 NPC, he did beat Durham Charles. That was a Southwest Texas. Craig Titus, Paul Dillette, Tom Prince, Melvin Anthony. Yes, I did. Appreciate that.
Bob, for the record, no commentator and no journalist has to put up their physique resume in order to have an opinion. How many shows did Peter McGough win? What about John Little? How many shows did he win? What about Jim Schmaltz? I mean, you might as well go after Bill Dobbins, John Balick. The writers and the talking heads don't have to show you their physique resume in order to have an opinion.
So it's funny because on the comments, they're actually arguing back and forth between Ron and Matt. You know what, Ron? Listen, we all go back, Ron. Again, we have mutual respect. And I'm glad I gave you a little shit because it kind of forced you to come out of your shell. I know you're just placating these guys. Yeah, and now he's catching shit from these guys because he's actually speaking the truth finally. So good for you. Hang on a second. Kaylin, Bob.
Wait, we got to go up.
Oh, hang on.
There, right there.
Oh, here's from Matt. Ron Harris did a 180 after saying he had Phil Clayhar winning on the Muscle Discord.
Well, here's the thing about that, Bob.
Then he did an interview with Dorian Haywood and said he had Dorian win. Well, good. At least he's speaking the truth now, right?
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. Nobody cares. It's history. Let's go back and relitigate the 1980 controversial Arnold Schwarzenegger victory. Let's go talk about the 81 Mr. Olympia with Franco Colombo and who was it, Tom Platz and Danny Padilla. I mean, we can go back 3 weeks to talk about the Masters Olympia that's already forgotten and talk about the guy that lost. Or we can focus on the fact that this guy, Dorian, has not only won, but he's going to go to the Mr. Olympia contest for God only knows what reason. I wouldn't do it, Dorian.
Here's Kenson. Kenson saying we need to get back to bodybuilding. Listen, you know what, Kenson? I couldn't agree more. This thing has gotten way too much interest, only in the fact that, once again, you got a guy who's not the best sport in the world, who has a history of complaining about his placings. I just saw a new one yesterday. Now he says in an interview he did, talking about Phil here, that once the judges found out how old he was, they've held it against him ever since, Sean.
Incredible. Robbie Robinson, Albert Beckles, Vince Taylor, Lou Ferrigno. I mean, isn't it a Masters contest? At the end of the day, has age ever factored in to any competition we've ever saw? You know what does factor in? A deteriorating physique. That's where you get marked down.
Well, Bill, he was 49. I called the show. I sat up there and interviewed Phil on stage and gave him credit where it was due, just to show you that nothing personal. When you deserve credit, I gave you credit. I didn't make any commentary on stage. I gave you accolades, gave you your flowers, and we even talked about him being 49. His whole thing is that he's an older guy who's done well for himself in bodybuilding, and he's placed, and he won a show, and he got to the Olympia. Good for you. Great story. Unfortunately, you've tainted any of that good stuff that could have been out there, because all anybody remembers you for now is being a crybaby and a poor sport and unprofessional. So you've pretty much ditched your own career when it comes to
I think
that.
the best thing that can happen, the guy's just going to retire. So hopefully, he finds peace in retirement. Congratulations, Phil.
Let's see. Hey, Bob,
You need to get back to
the gut mandate needs to return.
Yeah, I agree. The gut mandate does need to return. That's probably why there's people that don't win, right? Like people were talking about Nick Walker in Pittsburgh. The whole argument was about the stomach. If
Hang
Bill
on a
Clayhart
second.
took a look in the mirror, the whole argument is about his stomach.
Here's one of the delusional here, Christian again. Bob, are you really taking credit for writing the criteria for women's physique division? LOL. Am I taking credit? Well, let's see. As the athlete's rep, I proposed a division, put it together, wrote the criteria, submitted it to the pro league, got it approved, and even put on women's physique division shows as a promoter. So why would I just take the credit? I put in a lot of proposals that got it in my capacity in the last 20 years. Guess what else I put in, Christian? The 202 division, which then went to 210, which settled on the 212. You know who wrote that? Me. Guess who put the bikini division in there? Me. I mean, there is a whole list of things that I did in my capacity over the years for athletes. I've written reinstatement letters for Lee Priest. Guess who got your buddy Lee Priest back in, Shawn? I did.
Well, at the end of the day, you don't have to read your resume. I lived it. I mean, I'm not sure when Christian decided to jump into the bodybuilding industry, but I witnessed it. I was the athlete's rep before you were. I was the one that promoted the very first 202 competition because you had your hand in it. We don't have to justify the resume. If you weren't there and you missed it, go Google this information. It's public knowledge, and you're not trying to win anybody over by making those claims.
Here you go, Shawn, for you. Perfect. Hang on.
There it is.
Would you say Tom Brady, the commentator, former pro sport, would be respected or considered is lifting the sport by down talking players, their validity in the sport, or potential regularity in broadcast? He wants to know if so is Tom Brady downplaying and talking down and disrespecting when he says like a guy's having a bad day, or the defense sucks, or they're giving up too many points?
You're talking to the right guy. You got the right one here. This is a sport of opinion and critique. And if you don't like the critique that you're getting, turn the channel. I know that you don't have to listen to certain talking heads. If you don't like what's coming out of their mouth, you can turn the channel. However, most of the guys that have been around for 40 years have been paid for their opinion. Why? Because they're experienced. Okay? There's no satisfaction tearing down a bodybuilder unless it's warranted. If you're going to go up on the bodybuilding stage with a fat stomach, a runny tan, torn bicep, a torn pec, goo coming out of your shoulders, lumps on your butt, I'm going to call you out, and you're going to hear it from me. You don't have to like me, but my eyes are not lying to me. It may not sound the best. It might sound hypercritical. The athlete's going through some personal stuff, and I'm aware of it. I'm going to call it out. So if you don't want to hear that commentary, go to the PC station. But like all commentators, most of us have legs because we're honest, we're truthful, and it's also our own opinion. It does not change or influence the scoring that the judges do. If you have a problem with the outcome of the scoring, talk to the judges. If you don't like what happened in Tokyo, Japan, talk to Weinberger. But for us to commentate on any of these shows, give our own personal views, they're just as valid or as invalid as somebody else commentating on them.
Speaking of which, and of course, Tokyo has taken over the last 2 weeks, and this alleged conspiracy. Once again, another conspiracy involving the same guy. I see a pattern here, and everybody can't figure out the points in the swing. And I went on Kenson's show on EP09 and explained it thoroughly. And I think a lot of people got it, Shawn, but what they didn't understand was there's this ongoing dispute of anybody in the Phil camp that still can't figure out, well, I don't understand. What can change in 3 hours? The prejudging and the finals were only 3 hours away. Shawn, you ever seen a physique change in 3 hours?
Yeah, Pittsburgh in May. I saw Derek Lunsford whip Nick Walker off the stage.
I mean, 3 hours. We've seen physiques melt in 3 minutes on stage, have we not?
Matter of fact, I witnessed Cedric McMillan not even able to make it after prejudging back to the finals. I watched Logan Franklin not even be able to leave his hotel room to make it to prejudging. So things happen to the body in a matter of minutes. I've seen guys cramp up. I've seen ambulances called in. I've actually seen athletes expire before they can get to the show. I watched Dallas McCarver not be able to come back and finish the show in Australia. Yeah, the body changes in a matter of minutes.
And here's how the points work, folks. We're not going to go into the whole point thing because we've just got stuff commenters coming in left and right, which is great. We appreciate you guys. Here's how the points thing works, okay? Overwhelmingly, all the judges had Phil Clayhar winning in the morning, and they all pretty much had Dorian in third place in the morning, okay? And Dom, the German guy there, I keep forgetting his name, Dominic.
That was the guy. I had him winning.
I know, right? We both had him winning according to what, we weren't there, but according to video and pictures, I would have had him winning. But he's in a solid second place. And people say, well, how is that even possible? How's it possible? Here's how it's possible, everybody. At the night show, everybody had Dorian winning, and nobody had Phil winning. They had him in third place. So Dom stayed in the center, okay, solid second. These two guys flip-flop, and they say, I don't understand. How can that possibly happen? It's real easy. Phil faded a little bit. Listen, neither guy was great right off the bat. Let's just start there, okay? But Dorian was holding a lot of water in the morning, which he lost a lot of water as he was posing. When he came back, much sharper. Midsection was under control. Phil flattened out. Listen, he wasn't a lot different than the morning, but it was different enough. So it's a combination, everybody. It's not just one guy got that much better. One guy got a little worse. The other guy got a little bit better. Overwhelmingly, it's a bodybuilding show. Dorian here has a lot more muscle than Phil does. And the judges felt, and again, there was 7 of them. It ain't just Steve, everybody, okay? Everybody felt there at that point, it was overwhelmingly the other way, completely in reverse. So now you virtually have a tie. And guess where the tie is going to go at night while you're judging the show and going to the final pose down? That's where Dorian won the show. It's that simple. No call from Pittsburgh. The bat phone didn't ring. I should have brought my bat phone here. I could get a call.
I do have a question about that, Bob, because I've watched on Instagram many times. I've seen IFBB Vice President Tyler Mannion come on after a show to give a review, to give an explanation as to what we just saw, and to justify the scoring. It's been a couple of weeks now since the Olympia in Tokyo. Have you seen Tyler Mannion come out and do a review of the results that happened in Tokyo?
I wish he would. Listen, I would welcome him or Steve or anybody now to come out.
I mean, listen, I'm not here to defend the IFBB Pro League, but the IFBB Pro League should probably do that just so these guys can understand the inner workings of how this stuff works. That's not our job. We just call what we see, and I still think the guy that got third should have won. I'm done with it.
Here we go. Let's see. Bob, why attack Phil so much? You praised him in person. Then knocked him on your wildly popular I praised him in person. The guy won the show that I was emceeing. So, yeah, I walked over and gave him praise for winning the show. That's my job, right?
Bob,
you know why? Because that's what a professional does. They don't show bias on stage. They don't bring their own opinion into it. I praised him on stage for winning a show, which he rightfully did. And he deserved to win it at that point, right? Now, hang on. Because I got to get to this quick. Then I knock him. Yeah, I knocked him after he went to Tampa, took dead last, right? And then came out swinging with the conspiracies. And Tyler doesn't even want him on the stage. And it was very clear. They wanted him to retire. And they didn't even give him a look. And he should have been in the first call out. Now, and all these other ridiculous things that you heard. And then that's where me and Matt actually started. I was actually on Matt's show asking Matt, this is why Matt has no credibility, by the way, everybody. I asked Matt 10 times in a row. Why would you have him in the first call out? Because he kept insisting he should have been called out in the first call out. And he says, because of what he did last year. Now, if anybody thinks I'm making that up, they can go watch the tape. Okay, I'm not putting words in his mouth. He thought he deserved a look in the first call out because of what he did in Orlando a year earlier. That's the very essence of bias, and that's the very essence of politics. You get judged on what you do at that time. Phil's complaint was, now he's changed it a little bit, that he just thought he should have got a better look. Well, Shawn, let me ask you something, brother. Let me ask you.
This is a long 15 minutes of publicity.
I know. But you know what? Listen, that's what's in the news right now, so we got to address it, right? So he thought he should have got a better look. You came out in alphabetical order. You get a first look with the group that you're in. Let's just say it was the first 5 guys, okay? Then you come back and you get a look on your own. You get the individual presentation, okay? You get a chance to show up all the stuff that you got that's another look that you get. Then you got the call outs. Well, you got another call out. In this case, you went to the last call out and you got another look. You got as many looks as anybody else could get. If they thought you were good at that point, they would have moved you up on the next round of call outs. They didn't. You were in the last call out. You end up in last place. And then you didn't even show up at the night show because you're unprofessional.
And this is the last time we're going to talk about him because really,
yeah, we're gonna put this to
all
bed
the oxygen out of the room. Tyler Mannion can do a better job of explaining, so let him do that.
Okay, hang on. Well, wait a minute. Shows are Shawn Ray is one of the all-time greats. His impact on the sport of bodybuilding is immeasurable. His analysis and opinions. Hang on, I'm losing it. Have always been unbiased and honest. So you got one fan, Shawn. One to you.
I got one out there.
Bob, when will?
No, we're not mentioning him again.
Yeah, we're done with the Masters Olympia and those results. Refer to your IFBB Pro League for the rules and regulations on sports.
Listen, go start a petition to remove Steve and Sandy and all the judges. They should never judge again, right? So go put a petition in. Go complain to the Mannions. Go complain to whoever it is you think you need to complain to.
We don't work for the IFBB Pro League. I'm sorry, even though that's what they think.
Ron, I didn't invent the round. I like the old system with a symmetry round. Yeah. Listen, we still have a symmetry round. I mean, Ron actually put something about the symmetry round. I've explained this to Milos. We both have 1,000 times. We still have the symmetry round, okay? There's no score for it, but it's judged. Every show comes out. We've all been, me, you, Ron, we've been to thousands of shows. Every show starts with the symmetry round, everybody. They're supposed to be assessing symmetry, proportion, and shape. Now, where does that come into the judging? I think personally it should come in a little bit more. I think those things should be taken a little bit more, and we would have better physiques, winning shows and placing up in the top. I think it's kind of got whitewashed, but make no mistake, everybody, getting a score for it was meaningless because we had guys winning a symmetry round with the worst symmetry you've ever seen. You lost to a guy that didn't have the best symmetry, Shawn. You also lost to a guy who didn't have the best posing routine, but you did, but you didn't even win the posing round.
You're right. And you know what? I also got heat like you did. When I watched 7-time Mr. Olympia, Phil Heath, I was the commentator. I was calling those shows. Was it 2016 that he lost the title to Shawn Rhoden or somewhere in there? When Phil Heath lost that show, I was calling it, and I was talking about Phil's bloated, smooth, uncontrollable stomach. He took the commentary personally. He thought I was attacking him until he actually had a chance to reflect on that show. And when I called Shawn Rhoden after prejudging as the ultimate winner going into that show for one reason only, he had good control of his midsection. Phil lost the Olympia because of his bloated stomach and the lack of control. And I used those words. I used those words, as offensive as they may be, because that's what I was seeing. That's what I was looking at. A bloated, smooth stomach. He had a hernia. He had surgery. He had issues with his stomach. But to me, on that Olympia stage, it was bloated, it was smooth, and it was fat, and it was out of control. And he ultimately lost the contest. He was upset because I was saying these things about him being a 7-time Olympian until he watched it later in hindsight, and he understood that what I was saying was dead on the money. So some people just get too caught up with the verbiage. But you know what? When you're telling it like it is, there's no reason to apologize. I might hurt your feelings, but you're going to get the truth.
And listen, you got to give credit where it's due in terms of the judging process. If it was good enough for one Phil, it was certainly good enough for another. And it was the exact same reason that he lost. Does Bob work for the IFBB Pro League? No. I've never gotten a check from the Pro League. Never gotten a check to be in the athlete's rep. I'm not on the payroll. If I'm due a check, I got a whole bunch of them that are due. They're going to owe me a lot of money. But no, I don't work for the Pro League.
Same here. Hire people.
Oh, here's another one. Sid for MC. Listen, people, me and Sid don't hate each other, okay? We're actually very good friends, and I think he's an excellent MC and an even better announcer because that's kind of his background. I love Sid. So I know you guys like to throw that out like it's like digging at me or him because he gets the same stuff on the other side. Trust me, folks, we're just laughing at you, okay?
Bob, at the end, who goes to the Mr. Olympia for the MC? You know, it's like, hey, I'm going to turn on the football game. I'm going to watch, Al Michaels. You're going to watch the football game because the team's on the field.
Shawn, what was your favorite Olympia you competed in?
My favorite was actually 1999 for a lot of reasons. Mind you, I was coming off of a 5th place finish in 1998 in New York City. I just actually proposed to my then girlfriend of about 5 minutes, and I got back in the gym, and I had the best training camp I could have in 1999. That's the Mariah Mayall routine that I did. I posed for 3 minutes and 45 seconds. It's on YouTube. No one does 3 minutes and 45 seconds, Bob. I mean, I don't think you could even hold your breath that long, but I managed to do the whole entire song. I
Yeah,
got
you did.
fifth place. I got fifth place, and that was the year that Chris Cormier wound up beating me. And I told him early in his career he never would. So to witness that was a part of history. That was kind of cool. Flex Wheeler, I thought, got a gift in second place. His hamstrings were soft and smooth. Nasser El Somebody beat me at that show, but that was, I think, the best Olympia lineup. So that's why I remember it so well. Was 1999.
There's Mr. Potato Head's back on here. He says, "Why did we block his? We didn't block his comments. His comments ain't being blocked. Why would he even say such
We
a
never block. We never censor.
There's
Everyone's entitled to their opinion.
There's a 20-second delay on the whole thing. That's just part of the thing, but nobody's blocked.
He needs to go get a little kid to help him with his computer.
You see, this is his problem, though. Again, Team Delusion. He's the leader of Team Delusional.
Yeah, well,
I don't know what it is with this kid that he's been around for 10 fucking minutes, and he thinks that he's a part of what we do. He's a part of the sport. He's going to make petitions, and you guys need to do this. And it's like, who do you think you are?
Anybody can have a podcast, Bob. Doesn't take a requirement. Doesn't take education.
Yeah, but you know what it does take, Shawn? It takes a pedigree, it takes a background to know what you're talking about. And the one thing you need in this industry in order to be successful at what we're doing and what we've been successful doing for over 25 years is you got to have an eye for bodybuilding. Matt is buttered because I exposed him to the entire world when it was very obvious that he had no idea what he was looking at and continues not to know what he's looking at, not to know what he's talking about. Keep in mind, this is the same guy in this podcast that was begging Derek Lunsford, bro. He got right into the camera. Derek, listen to me, man. Bro, listen to me, bro. Don't go in the Arnold, man. Remember this, man? Don't go in the Arnold, man. It's a bad move. It's a bad move. Yeah, it's a bad move. He just made more money in one day than you made in your entire life, man, or probably ever will make. Okay? So listen, keep your own advice into what you do, whatever that is. But
I'll be asking Matt for lottery ticket numbers, that's for sure.
This one says from Protein, good job, Bob. Your opinion is your opinion. Oh, I just lost that one. Yeah, opinion on Nick winning. There we go. This is what started everything, bro. Opinion on Nick winning this year's Olympia. Is it possible? Yes. Is it probable? No.
In the story, there's nothing to add. And by the way, Nick has to make it to the Mr. Olympia. When was the last time he was on the Olympia stage?
Well, this hopefully, listen, and don't get us wrong, everybody.
No, but I'm just asking.
2 years ago. 2 years ago.
So there's a 50-50 chance because we're still 6 weeks away. So there's no guarantee that anybody, because shit happens. It happens all the time.
This one says, Shawn's a liberal. Bob's more conservative, I'm guessing. But both can probably agree the world is too soft today. Well, you got that. Listen, we have done VOBs. We have dedicated him to what we call the pussification of the world. People are so soft these days. And when I say people, we're talking about our own. We're talking about the competitors who, for some bizarre reason, if you say that somebody came in off, or you say that, it just wasn't a great lineup, you're instantly labeled as a hater. We're instantly dragged right into this idea that we're shitting all over the new generation, Shawn, and all that. And it's like, what do you want us to, like, do you want us to, what, like, we're supposed to go back and go, oh, you know what, Shawn, I looked again, and it turns out it was a great lineup.
Bob, we are living in a time where just yesterday, I lost a friend of almost 40 years because he told me that he was once 250 pounds off season. And I said, absolutely not. There's no way that he's 5'6", competed and won at 195 pounds dripping wet. I said, show me a picture. So he sends me a picture of him in shape. I said, in shape, you're between 195 and 205. Show me the 250 pound off season, because my heaviest was 242 pounds. I'm about a half inch taller, maybe a quarter of an inch. And I said, show me the 250 pounds. He told me to F off. Don't tag him. Don't send him messages. He's blocking and deleting me. And I'm basically a piece of garbage because I said, show me that you're 250 pounds. I don't believe you. He says, I don't have time for people calling me a liar. So I lost a friend of 40 years. I don't need to reveal his name, I'll
Yep.
tell you later, but I'll tell you,
You
he's
don't
very sensitive.
you don't need friends like that, brother. Here's Matt. I
No.
thought Matt got blocked, but here he is again. Bob is saying that you're going to announce Nick in 8th place. Is that being respectful or whatever he
Oh
said?
my God,
I
are you
just
kidding
lost
me?
it.
Who cares?
No, that's called a prediction.
Gamesmanship.
Okay, yeah, it's a little gamesmanship, bro. Okay, he puts out a thing, says, "Oh, who the fuck is Bob?" Right, this and that. The funny thing is me and him were texting the whole time. Okay, people. So it's not that we even didn't take it that seriously, but is that being disrespectful? No.
Yeah.
What's the difference? What I announce him if it's 8th, if it's 6th, or if he wins the damn thing?
Yeah.
I just hope he gets on stage and he actually competes, and I would love to see how he can do. Gonna be a great Olympia. Okay, but no, that's not disrespectful. That's just my opinion. Remember, Matt? Remember that whole, it's just your opinion, right?
Speaking of Nick Walker, I was there. I handed him his trophy on the stage at the Arnold Classic, right? Then I said he could be a potential Mr. Olympia winner. And the following year, I said, I don't think he's going to even make it to the Mr. Olympia. I said that at the Fit
That's
Expo in
right.
Los Angeles. I said he may not even make it to the stage. And unfortunately, he didn't. He tore his hamstring that year. They wanted to chew me up because I said he'll be lucky if he gets to the stage, and he didn't. And then a year later, he pulls out again because he's got mental issues. Predictions are like what? Everyone has one. You're entitled to your opinion. Whether the guy's going to be 8th place, 5th place, or 1st place, you get absolutely nothing. You can say whatever you want to say about anyone. Where do you have to be sensitive to the competitor when you're not on the stage announcing them? You can say whatever the hell you want. Matt needs to just like put on the big boy pants. I'm not talking about this guy anymore. I'm not talking about him. I'm done.
Listen, he doesn't have any big boy pants. Okay, this is a troll
I'm
that
done.
he's getting killed on these comments. But listen, this is a guy again, Mr. the team delusional.
There's
This
a
is
lot
a
of
guy
guys
who
that are like
fancies
that.
himself as somebody in the industry. He's an industry guy. You're not. You're not even Mr. Canada 2 times. I mean, I see that in his little bio thing, bro. You never won the Mr. Canada, not once. I did notice that. I looked that up actually as I saw it. And I was like, what's the chances? You won your class. Twice. You won your class. Okay, you lost. There's actually, and that's disrespectful, right? Listen, you and I have been on people's asses for years.
Sure.
Well, again, for what we call
False
stolen
advertising.
valor, right?
Yeah.
The bottom line
False
is
advertising.
for false advertising. Listen, unless you won the overall, you're not Mr. Anything. That title is reserved for whoever wins the overall. There's an overall winner there, right? You don't see guys that remember back in the day, Sean, when they had the different classes at the Olympia, like the over and under 200.
Yeah.
Right. Like, and you'd have like Frank Zane who won the under 200, or Robbie or Ken Waller won the over 200 one year. None of those guys ever in the history of bodybuilding you ever heard refer to themselves as Mr. Olympia. You know why? Because they lost to the other guy. That guy has the Mr. Olympia title. Just like I give shit to people today. If you won the men's physique title at the Olympia, you're not Mr. Olympia. The only Mr. Olympia right now is Samson Dauda. Okay. You want to be Mr. Olympia? That's what you compete for. But don't take that stupid thing off your thing, man. You look like an idiot. And if I was one of the guys who actually beat you for that title, I'd be pissed off. That's rude. It's inconsiderate, bro. I mean, boy, he likes to dish it out. Hang on, Sean. Here we go.
Akeem is, or not Akeem. I'm sorry.
We got stuff. Shawn Ray's posing that the '99 Olympia was the best. Sean's thoughts on Keon in the Open. I think he will do the Arnold. What do you think? That's from the mayor, by the way.
100%. The mayor is 100%. Now, I would take the mayor's opinion over these other guys on these other talking heads. He's been there. He actually goes to shows, right? He actually watches and follows the game. Keon Pearson right now, in my opinion, is the best bodybuilder competing. Yeah, he should focus on winning the 212 again. That'll be nice for him. But there's absolutely no question that he's my odds-on favorite for becoming the next Mr. Olympia winner after this year.
Here's a question. Bob, do you like women's bodybuilding? I love it. I like it so much I actually created a whole division called the Women's Physique Division. It is women's bodybuilding. So, yeah, love it. There's some old school where it took a right turn way back in the day that I wasn't particularly impressed with. Apparently, nobody else was impressed with either. That's why it died a quick death back in the day. It needs a little bit of restructuring. Got to give Jake Wood credit for that. It was a passion of his, and he single-handedly resurrected it. And good for him, for where that is. But yeah, listen, I've always been a fan of women's bodybuilding, but I think it has to be done right. There's a market for everything and an ROI, everybody. Okay, we're in a business here. And when something doesn't have an appeal to enough people, it's going to die. Okay, the women's sports as it is doesn't have as much appeal. That's why we have men's prejudging on Friday nights. That was put in years ago to compensate. Shawn, you were around back in the day on Friday nights over at the arena when we had 200, 300 people in attendance.
Crickets,
and there was
but
crickets.
like you said, sometimes you have to reinvent, you have to revamp. I remember when I came on with Mutant for the very first time, we launched a product called All In. Well, guess what? Some time has gone by, some evolution has happened, some better ingredients have come along, so they reformulated it. And you know what happened, Bob? They came out with an all new, all in, all new, just released. A nice little segue. All in. Things change, and sometimes they change for the better. Get
So,
yours
bro,
now.
this says Bob Chick 2000 versus 2025, Mr. USA. Bob is another level compared to that guy. Listen, people, we've killed this thing over the years, but it's not comparable. We don't even do shows about it anymore because it's just not worth really covering. It's not a comparison of the level of competition back in the day. Like I caught some grief from a few idiots out there when I told Nick he would have had a tough time turning pro back in my day. I would
Who would he
submit
have had
that
to
same
beat back in your day, Bob? But just real quick, who would he have had a tough time with in the heavyweights from back in your day?
Well, let's see. Would he have beaten Chris Cormier? Would he have beaten Flex Wheeler? Would he have beaten here? I'll even go some guys who never got the pro. Would he have beaten Matt Mendenhall, Rory Ladlemeyer, Edgar Fletcher? Go pull up a picture of Edgar Fletcher, everybody. You tell me who's beating this guy. Those are guys who Ken Casignoli. These were guys who actually could not get their pro. That's where the level was. So when I say that to Nick, and that wasn't as a put down more than just it's a fact, right? Go take a picture of Nick from the North Americans that he turned pro at, and go compare him to anybody back in that day.
Well, all
and
you have to do is listen for comparisons for apples and oranges. You have to ask yourself, who did Nick beat? Who was second and third in the North Americans? Does anyone know?
and listen, this isn't even against him take
No, it's not.
anybody today, anybody. The guy who's going to win the North American, I believe that's going on as we speak. The guy who won the National, the guy who won the USA, take any of them. We're not even giving them a name. Take Nick out of it. Anybody today would have a very, very difficult time turning pro back in the late 80s, early 90s, into the 2000.
Let me tell you why, Bob. You know why? Because at this year's North America, USA's, and Nationals, you're going to have guys that only 2 years ago that might have been fourth or fifth. Back when in the day, you had guys that had to go from third to second to first to overall. There was a maturation process and also a graduation process to get to those guys that were really good when they turned pro. The 91 lineup at the USA, like you like to bring out all the time.
Nationals.
Yeah, it's a Hall of Fame lineup.
Yeah.
I mean, literally.
Here's a question. Shawn and Bob, any plans on going on a bodybuilding diet and getting ripped again in a non-competing kind of way, Shawn? Are we going to be getting ripped up for the Olympia?
I have no intentions. I mean, I'm retired 24 years. That's something to be proud of. I'm a grandfather, and I got two daughters down here that are just out of their teens at 20 and 17. I don't want to go back and do what I did for a living and a career 24 years into retirement. Number one, I'm not motivated by money. I'd have to be motivated by passion. But bodybuilding is not for the faint. It's not something that you just do like riding a bike. I'm now riding my bike a lot more than I was when I was bodybuilding. But it's not the same to go and sacrifice the time and the energy and the physicality of beating my body down. I like functionality. I like movement. I like flexibility. I'm not interested in looking in the mirror at what I look like. I've had a career of that. Now, that said, guys that have gotten injured or didn't do it enough. Kevin Levrone, for example, left the stage with injuries. He's found his mojo at 61 years old to get up there and do a body transformation. Dexter Jackson, stimulated by that, he's doing it. Good for them. I have absolutely no desire to go back and do what I did 20 years ago when I have so much stuff that I couldn't do because I was a professional bodybuilder.
So, Shawn, here's the real problem summed up right here. This is from Renee. I don't know if that's a man or a woman, but either way. Bob, don't you agree you can state your opinion a little bit more friendlier? You see,
I love that. I love it.
And therein lies
what does he mean by what does he mean by preface it a little? Be nice, Bob. When you're, hey, I want your opinion, but just be nice. Don't hurt my feelings, okay?
Isn't
Say it soft.
Bro, isn't that
Be gentle.
today though? Like, isn't
Yeah,
that
be
the
gentle.
PC today version of like you can't sit there and say a guy
My
is
mom's
blocky,
watching.
right? You
Yeah.
got to say, well, he's a little aesthetically challenged.
Yeah, be careful. I want to hear your opinion, but don't
Yeah.
hurt my feelings when you do it, because my wife, my girlfriend, my uncle, they're watching too. And I don't want to go back and read these comments about how blocky my waist is, or how fat my stomach is, or that I'm not ready for prime time, or that I've got funky shoulder. Don't hurt me with the truth. Be nice. Break it to me easy.
Well, listen, I think we do a hell of a job of keeping it
Jesus.
fairly PC. I'm just not understanding like how. Listen, first of all, I'm a New Yorker. Okay, we just put stuff
Yeah.
out there. And I know one of the comments after the show, I hate to bring it up again, but I will, was that people wanted to know why Phil wanted to know why he didn't win the show, and the answer was he fell apart. Now, it's not a literal thing, okay? That's a very New York thing to say. I didn't
Yeah.
say that, by the way. I said that there was people out there saying that I said he fell up. I never said any of such thing. Okay, I think that came from either Big Steve or Sandy or the judges. That just means that you again, like you mentioned earlier,
It's the same
Nick
thing.
versus Derek at Pittsburgh. Listen, they beat him into the ground because it was close. Derek did not come in at his best. Nick arguably might have been his all-time best, and it made it very close.
He
What
fell
determined
apart.
the winner? Well, falling apart is a very common bodybuilding term of not holding your composure, letting your stomach
Sweating,
hang,
the stomach.
sweating,
Yeah.
things like that, right?
Hiding the stomach.
Keeping your midsection tight. When the midsection's a problem, folks, let me just put this out there. When the midsection is a problem, like you just pointed out to Phil Heath when he lost the Olympia to Roden, it's a problem for 6 poses. It's a problem for the front double bi, the front lat, the front ab, and the side poses, because you see it in every single pose, other than the back. Okay, so that is a huge problem to have going into a competition, or when it's really, really close. That's the kind of stuff that they're looking for to determine who's the winner and who places second.
Well, there's a lot of deflection here, Bob. Coming after commentators because they agree with the outcome of 7 or 8 judges is a waste of time. And I'm not the feelings police, but if you don't want my opinion, don't look for it. Just skim over it. But sugarcoating what I have to say is not going to happen. I'm not apologetic.
And we would sugarcoat it, except they'd probably eat that too, getting ready to carb up for the show, which is why some of these guys, quote, fall apart, okay, because they spill over on stage. And we've seen that. Again, we talk about a 3-hour difference in physiques. I have seen guys, Victor Martinez, probably the most notorious, 2007, should he have won the Olympia, the uncrowned Mr. Olympia. I had Victor winning that show, bro, for about the first 10 minutes.
How bad was Raymondino sweating at the Olympia in the pre-judging?
Bro, his whole
falling
tan
apart.
came off.
The dude's falling apart, man. It happens.
It's front bubble. Shawn Ray acts tough until he gets confronted by a guy's sister
What
Nina
does it
when
have
she
to
had
do with
his
being
son.
tough? Am I coming off as tough because I'm telling my truth? I'm not. I didn't brag about being a Golden Glove fighter. I'm not a freaking fighter. I'm a retired 60-year-old bodybuilder in the next 2 weeks. Okay, I got grandkids. I got shoes older than most of you guys who have feelings. I am not a fighter, and if somebody comes up to me to fight, I'm not fighting. But I'm entitled to my opinion.
So this guy says, Bob, did Arnold really fire you? It's like, well, no, I've never been fired. First of all, I didn't even talk to Arnold. I let the appropriate people know at the UK Arnold show that I would not be returning.
Which was after the Arnold.
Yeah, this was after. Yeah, I did the Arnold. Things went south there quickly in terms of their production. It was a big mess, big fiasco. Arnold was not pleased with the production. They tried to send me under the bus for that, but I'm not the one who put the production together. There was big gaps in time that were scheduled that I tried to warn them was going to be an issue. Anyway, 2 weeks later was the UK Arnold, which I did. And I informed them at that point that I would not be returning, that I would focus purely on the Olympia and my other ventures of competition. I didn't listen, Arnold may be Arnold. I love Arnold personally. The Lormers, big shout out to Jim Lorimer up in that big gym in the sky, and Bob Lorimer, who was always very supportive. They brought me into that show for 10, 12 years, bro, just to interview Arnold. And then I got a chance to host it and all that. But Even they don't say it. Nobody fired anybody. I just simply elected to not come back. And maybe they wanted to go in a different direction themselves. I don't know, but
Bob,
that
let me
was
ask
their
you.
choice.
You're going to be 60 in December. How many fights have you been in over your opinion? Over your opinion on bodybuilding and bodybuilders? Really? I mean,
Hey,
what the hell?
bro, I'm a Golden Gloves fighter, right?
Yeah. Oh, well, it doesn't matter, right? How many fights have you been in because someone didn't agree with your opinion?
I'm going to say a big fat zero.
It's the
right?
wrong
But,
sport, guy. It's the wrong
somebody
sport. I'm
actually,
not fighting anybody.
hey, here's some old stuff. Somebody actually asked earlier about the confrontation I had with Craig Titus, speaking of fighting, years ago. This is at the USA before he went to jail, obviously. But Ron Avedon was right there. There's actually a whole bunch of bodybuilders there. But we were going back and forth on Get Big. And, Craig, he was a big, tough guy. He was a keyboard warrior. But I went right up to him at the USA, about 5 inches from his face, and said, "All right, what do you want to do now?" And he was not expecting that at all. And
you know what?
all of a
But
sudden,
you know
he
what?
wanted to talk it out.
You're talking to a rival. It's a competitor. Are you gonna start fighting with fans? Are you gonna start fighting with idiots that don't agree with your opinion? Come on, we're grown men here.
And Bob's on there. It's funny. These guys, I know they try to be funny and stuff, but it's like, bro, me and Shawn both have other business ventures, bro. We don't just do this. We both have outside businesses that we work on and make money at. Shawn just got back from Sweden, was it?
Yeah, Switzerland. Yeah.
Switzerland. Listen, I'll be. I got a world tour coming up in just a few. I'll be in Italy, Australia, Turkey, back to Italy, then back here. Then we have a week. Then we're off to the Olympia.
Right.
So sorry, your petition seemed to fail there. I'm shocked. I know
fire you from one gig. Yeah, we don't like Bob's opinion. Get him out.
Oh, bro, you're gonna love this one. I'm gonna throw this one to you. This one says from Carl, says Phil said he's suing the IFBB. Apparently.
Yeah, I like that. Well, you know what? Typically, you got to hire a lawyer, which means you got to retain them.
Good luck with that.
And pay them, or you got to have a winnable case where they'll do it for pro bono. But who exactly are you going to sue because they don't like you for first place in a competition? Are you shitting me? This is a bodybuilding contest, a matter of opinion, subjective opinion. The results are final. The results don't get overturned in a courtroom. The guy needs to retire and just go away. I'm not talking about this guy anymore. I'm done.
Yeah, we're done with that. This guy, Kellyan, Craig Titus is all talk, who is good at prattling his obnoxious mouth. Probably must be from somewhere else with these words. Once you get in his face, confront him the right way, he's borrowed. Listen, I know a lot of tough guys over the years that if you actually go up to them, they sing a different tune. Listen, we all see where that went. I mean, so he was always a bad egg. I mean, even when we were in Venice and doing our thing, and Craig just. The funniest thing I ever heard on that whole subject matter was when they interviewed him and Kelly, and they asked him why they moved out to Vegas from LA. And his answer, Shawn, was to get away from the drama.
And I showed him where to purchase his house. So at the end of the day, he wasn't wrapped too tight. He had a rap sheet before he moved to Las Vegas. And Las Vegas just kind of exposed all the other weaknesses that he had. It's an unfortunate tragedy in our sport, but it is definitely a lesson for others to watch and witness.
Here's just to put a cap on the team delusional. Says Phil also said he's going to go to TMZ over his loss.
Oh, nice.
I doubt TMZ would care about the Masters Olympic. TMZ has mentioned, this is what I talk about with the delusion. This is where the whole problem of that whole crew stems from, that they all think they've got this importance level that's up here, and they just don't. TMZ has mentioned two bodybuilders in their entire history of them, Ronnie Coleman and Phil Heath.
Along with Sean Roden. And if he wants to be mentioned on TMZ, TMZ is waiting for something to happen. And it typically is not good.
Yeah, but it's like, guys, who do you think you are? Listen, we wish you the best. Move on, go somewhere else, go compete over there. Why would you even want to be a part of this fiasco that you think
get
that
out
there's?
While you can.
Just get out. Listen, you're just bugging people. Here's Ron Harris. When I heard that a pro bodybuilder was wanted for murder, the first thing I thought was, I bet it was Craig Titus. Truer words have never been spoken, bro. If there was a guy, we took a poll back in the day of who's most like, like those high school, like who's most likely to do this? Who was most likely to murder somebody and be put in jail for life? I'll guarantee you with 100% accuracy that the answer would have been Craig Titus.
Yeah, this sport's not for everyone. I mean, we bring in we bring in a lot of psychos. We bring in people with body dysmorphia. people that are very insecure, and they drag their family members into their insecurity. And when things don't go their way, the entire family wants to erupt. It's the very essence of dysfunction. And when you put them on a stage almost naked and things don't go their way and they crumble, they want to tear down everything around them. So that's where we're at today. We've seen it.
This guy
Trailer
says,
first.
or girl, I can't tell from the picture. Bob Chick has been a terrific MC for the Mr. Olympia and other pro shows. I don't find any valid reason worthy of firing him. Thank you. To me, this one says, Playboy Stummy Hurt. I don't know these names. To me, the statement from Fuad in an interview with Quentin sums up bodybuilding right now. Quote, I'm not going to ask you if you think you are winning the show. This is not WWE. What a joke. I'm not sure I'm understanding that. Like,
Well,
is that a good
let
question?
me give you some context for me. If I'm on the outside looking in, the Mr. Olympia is a contest amongst about 4 people, 5 people. The rest are just happy to be there. You know, I want to qualify to go to the Olympia. I don't hear people saying I want to qualify and be Mr. Olympia. And that's what's missing. When I was coming up, Flex Wheeler, Chris Cormier, Nasser El-Somebody, Ronnie Coleman, everyone was going to the Olympia, Paul Dillette, to try to be Mr. Olympia. Now what I'm seeing is that we have all of these pro qualifying shows and everybody just wants to be a part of the Olympia. And that's the dumbing down pussification of where we're at today, is the majority of the athletes going are not going to try to win. And that's why they don't look as good as we did back in the day.
And let me take a moment to clarify this, because everybody likes to dwell on the negative, the Matts out there and the rest of these people. All they do is dwell on the negative, saying that we're negative, which is kind of really interesting to me. We were talking about Regan Grimes recently, about some different things, whether he should go to the Olympia or whether he shouldn't, based on where his
Not just
physique is.
him.
Because he says he wanted to be in the top 6, and our opinion, which I agreed with you on. Actually, it's funny because you said that, but I took the heat. But the funny thing is I must have said 20 things that were great about Regan Grimes. I said he's a good-looking kid. I love his physique. I said that he's got a physique that could be a Mr. Olympia physique one day, very reminiscent of some of the greats in the past. I said he was put together well, or he's got beautiful muscles. Not one of those things ever made it anywhere. All you heard was Bob and Shawn say he got no business going to the Olympia. And it's like, but that sums it up in part and parcel of what we're dealing with today. Nobody, I've talked good about Nick Walker. I've talked good about Phil Clayhar, actually, when we were initially giving our 2 cents on that whole Tampa thing. We gave him some compliments, and none of that stuff was reported. So people only want to report on the bad stuff, Shawn, and that's kind of pathetic, really. But people who question Bob Chick for his credibility have to take a close look at the terrific lineups he went up against almost every single time. Listen, folks, this ain't about me. This ain't about ancient history. Again, we're not comparing the old days to the new days because there is no comparison.
Correct.
Says, why is Bob sweating? I'm not sweating at all. I do have this light right in front of me. I mean, that probably doesn't help.
I got my water.
What's this notion that I'm some big fat boy out there? Like I saw a couple of these.
Well, at the end of the day, Bob, let me tell you, it's the lowest common denominator when someone doesn't agree with you. Because I know you're new to the cancel culture. I've already been there. I've been canceled a number of times. But when you put yourself out there and your opinion, and they don't agree with your opinion, the next common denominator on the totem pole is to attack your appearance and your character, your religion, or your race. Welcome to the pussification of bodybuilding. I've already been there. I've been here many years. I've taken the heat. I've been called a lot of things. Even when I put my mascara on for the Mr. Olympia, I was labeled as gay or gay for pay or whatever the hell it is. It's makeup, right? I'm sure you've been in the makeup seat many times, like our good friend Arnold Schwarzenegger. It doesn't change your sexual persuasion. It doesn't make you any less than a man. But if I can tear you down on the way you look or your character without any type of information to back it up, then I've run out of bad things to say. They're throwing stones. They want to hurt you. They want you to feel whatever embarrassment or pain that they're feeling. Is called deflection. It is ridiculous, and it is the new age of bullying that, of course, we're way beyond. But attacking your looks is a good way to get your attention. Unfortunately, it doesn't work with us. We used to play football. We used to play tackle football in the street, okay? We used to catch the bus to the beach right? I mean, we used to climb trees and race cars with our bicycles. The pussification of our sport and their opinions behind this internet stuff is on a whole different level.
Here's, I believe, I can't see that. I think that's Jimmy Mentis there, the Jimmy the Greek. We love Jimmy. Just like Phil attacked me for the way he thought I look. LOL. I tell you what was kind of sad is, you know, Jimmy was going to go to the Masters. Didn't get the invite, which I don't agree with at all. But whatever, whatever it is, it is. He reached out to Phil Clayhar. I guess they have somewhat of a friendship or whatever. Wish him the best, sent him on his way, whatever. And then Jimmy went on a recent thread, and he was basically saying, like, look, guys, this thing's gone like way too far, man. Like, you guys need to drop it, basically talking to Phil and his crew over there. And then Phil kind of turned on him and started attacking him. And it's
That's
like,
funny,
you know what?
why?
Because that's what this guy is. He's a poor sport. He's not professional. He's a poor loser. And just like Ron found out, Ron Harris is a perfect example of a guy that was on there. You could see Ron was very uncomfortable with this crew that he was with. He wasn't agreeing with things, and Ron was trying to be nice. He was, Ron's a nice guy. I don't say that in any detriment. He's just a nice guy. He always has been. But you can tell it just did not sit well. But now he starts disagreeing with some of the stuff going on, like Jimmy did. And all of a sudden, you're an asshole. Hey, man, I thought you were my friend. This and that.
Well,
Listen,
you know why? Because Jimmy's one of the guys that would have beat him too. So there's that.
Well, now I wish Jimmy would have gone there to hand them all their butts. But
he would.
Shawn, will you be at the Olympia again this year? Haven't missed one in 20 years. Isn't that right?
Me?
That's you, buddy. So, will you be at the Olympia again this year?
Well, do the math. I haven't missed the Olympia since 1988, the first year I was in it. I don't need to go back and count the years, but I'm not missing that for the world.
Here we go. This is perfect. Now, here's a good question. I appreciate this from Gray, Grey. Do you think there's any truth with the idea that people with influence and power in the industry seem to push out competitors who speak up? If not, they're part of the good old boys. They're not part of the good old boys. They're just laughed at. Well, I'll tell you what, I got the best example sitting right in front of me right now of anybody who, quote, spoke up back in the day. And his name is Shawn Ray, right here. Shawn, you ever feel like you've been pushed out?
Right into the Bodybuilding Pro Hall of Fame and a Ben Weider Lifetime Achievement Award recipient.
Right.
I think you can look for any kind of excuse that you want to. But this league is not run by me or controlled by you. This is an IFBB Pro League. They have a slew of judges throughout the world, and they have a team that runs the industry. We are talking heads. We're no different than the people watching this podcast at the moment. We got no influence. I've never talked to Steve about the outcome of a show. I've never talked to Tyler Mannion about who the selection of judges are. I've got no checks from the IFBB Pro League. There's no influence. And they can only push you out based on what you look like. And when you stop liking the way they're scoring you, typically it's time to move on because you're not getting the results that you think you are entitled to. And I thought, for some apparent reason, that the last time we heard Phil Clayhar, he was retiring because he got last or whatever the hell it was. But he came back, and now he loses again. And I'm wondering how many retirements we're going to hear from this guy.
Well, they didn't have to let him back, as I outlined on the last VOB. They could have suspended him. They could have fined him. Even though he, quote, qualified for the Masters, from 2 years ago, it's only every other year. It's still an invitational, okay? Just like the Olympians are qualified for life, but you still have to get invited if you wanted to come back or compete like a big Rami or something like that. So the bottom line is they could have done a lot of things if they cared enough. They simply don't care, okay? That's why you haven't heard anything.
These professionals, Bob, have got to register and pay for an IFBB Pro League Pro Card, which includes participation in IFBB Pro League shows. It's voluntary. Now, if Phil sends in his check in January for 2026, we haven't heard the last of this guy. But it's up to him. If he doesn't like the outcome of these shows, he needs to stay out of them.
Well, you can see, here's Ron. Move closer to the mic. I don't know. It certainly can't be my voice. I mean, that's, it's booming as it, I've never been accused of
Ron,
being
can you hear me now?
That's for sure. It's almost crossing a line where it's run its course. It should be a victory lap for Bob. Listen, people, we don't take any great pride. We'd love to be talking more about bodybuilding and things. But, listen, when things come up, and this is why we address them, it gets addressed as either a learning learning moment, an example to set for others. This is not the way to do things. And listen, there are other pros out there who see these type of things and these type of actions. And listen, we are here to help, right? We are here to teach. That is not the way to handle things, folks. When you lose a show or you don't get the call out you think you should have gotten or whatever, listen, first of all, there should be a 24-hour moratorium on speaking about anything after a bodybuilding show. Go get a cheeseburger. Yeah, 48. 48 is probably better. Go get a cheeseburger. Go eat a pizza. Get some ice cream. Whatever, right? And you'll be talking with much more logic and not using your emotions. The difference is me and Shawn aren't emotionally involved here. Okay, we're looking at things from a business perspective. This is our job. Our job is to critique, do play-by-play, do rolling commentary. We've been on the microphone. We've been on stage. We've done PBW. We promoted shows. Right? This is what we do for a living. We get paid literally from great sponsors such as Celsius with the new Peach Vibe, Shawn. And we get paid, and we do pretty damn good, if I say so myself. We traveled the world many, many times. And we get paid for our opinions. So that's why we give them. And yes, we consider ourselves, and pretty much anybody else does, whether you hate us or love us, as experts.
Expert.
Okay? Yeah. We're experts. That's what we do. Other people in the industry who think they're experts simply aren't. Just because you got a microphone from Christmas from your mom and you set it up in your basement and you gave yourself a stupid name, okay, doesn't mean that you're an expert in the field. Most of these people show in very little time that they're not experts. They don't know how to assess a physique. They don't know how the judging process works. And what easier to do, Shawn, than blame politics of any show, right? It's got to be politics.
Well, let me quantify what an expert is. And I think you fall into the same category as me. Bob, did you compete as an amateur in PC? Yes. The answer is yes.
I'm sorry, what was that? The volume thing.
Did you compete as a teenager in the NPC?
I did, many years, my brother. You know that.
All right. No, these are yes or no questions, Bob. Let me help you. Did you compete on the national level?
I did, many years.
Did you win a national show?
I did.
That's where you earned your pro card, correct?
2000 USA, buddy.
You competed in a pro show, correct?
I did, yes.
You've won a pro show.
I did.
And you've competed on the Olympia stage.
I have.
You wrote for Flex Muscle Fitness, Muscular Development.
Yeah, sure did, buddy. Had a column.
You promoted competitions.
I have been a promoter.
You had a radio show called Pro Bodybuilding Weekly for years with Dan Solomon.
Me and Dan Solomon, yep. We started the whole thing.
You've traveled the world as a master of ceremonies, emceeing shows.
You are correct, sir.
And you've also promoted shows.
Yes, out of my own pocket.
And you've been at the Mr. Olympia microphone for nearly 20 years.
This will be year number 20 on the microphone.
And you're a spokesman for several companies, supplement, clothing, the whole 9 yards.
Yes, Celsius, Panada, ProFit, Mutant, Black Skull. Who else? Egg Whites International.
I don't need the commentary.
Icon.
All right.
Icon Meals, bro. I got to give them a shout out. They keep me fed. Icon Meals.
You also promote a podcast.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So it sounds like you've been doing this for how many years?
No,
started when?
Well, let's see. We're going to be 60 very soon. So I've been training since I was 13, carry the one, most of my life, almost 50 years, bro.
Yeah, 47 years to be exact, Bob. I'll help you with your math.
Thank you.
So I'm not sure what else there is for you to do that would quantify you as an expert, since you spent the majority of your adulthood on the road, in person, hosting, emceeing, promoting competitions, and representing brands, and working for Joe Weider and Steve Bleckman, and also now Jake Wood. So anybody that says that Bob Chick is not qualified, and I was right there with you for that entire ride, is lunatic. It is ridiculous. And they're entitled to their opinion, but they're wrong.
Well, Shawn, first of all, somebody said you'd make a great attorney. I agree. This guy says Matt is the new Nick Trigili. That might be the most honest thing I've heard in this entire live right now. Yes, he has taken over where Nick Trigili left off, and I'm pretty sure they might have the same backgrounds, which is a little sketchy at best. But
we need guys like that. We need guys like that.
We listen. You know, but at this point, I got to be honest. It almost reminds me of like I almost feel bad. I know that's going to sound weird to people, but because it feels like I'm picking on like the special ed kid at school. You
I
know,
know, but Bob, slow down. I just read your resume. Okay, Matt's resume doesn't fill up of what I just talked about. So it's almost like, a horse recognizing a fly flying around its eye. It's
right?
irrelevant.
We need the secret to Bob's epic hair. Is it all genetics, or does he use Aceto's finasteride protocol? You know what? This is all me, people. Look at almost 60, brah. I mean,
just answered them.
oh, did you? Yeah. Italian genetics. Yes. My father had a full shock of hair, but it's it's still hanging in there, man. There's no
Hey,
turkey
you don't
here,
got
bro.
to. You don't have to defend your good looks. We know they tried to attack that, and of course they're going to keep on sending attacks. You're bloated. You're this. I mean, it's welcome to the club, Bob. Welcome to the club.
This isn't a helpful way to frame this, Bob. I don't even understand what that means. VOB Media, whatever. I don't know what that means. Quirky. I don't understand what
I
that
got like 2
means.
more minutes of this, Bob. We've set the record straight.
Listen, bro, if you guys got any legit questions, we're all for it, man. We've had some. We're trying to do our best to. They are literally
While they're busy crying and complaining, Bob, I want to recognize the fact that I am only 10 weeks away from Hawaii's biggest event of the year for the 8th year running, Shawn Ray Pro-Am Hawaiian Classic, sponsored by our good friends at Mutant. And of course, our pro show sponsored by Stronghouse and our good buddy over there, Tony Tavares, who's providing the prize money for that event. Look forward to having these athletes come out pro bikini, pro men's physique, of course, the entire NPC, along with Fit Model. Register today at srhawaiianclassic.com.
All right, we're going to give it another. Yeah, let's just go another couple. Here we go. From the mayor of bodybuilding. I love the mayor, by the way. If there's a better fan and his faithful sidekick, Rob, I love these guys. Olympia top 3.
It's pretty easy. I'm going to say it's going to be the past Olympia winners.
You know what? I mean, why would anybody bet against that? Like if I mean, listen, we're not even putting them in order yet. We're a little too far out for that. But how do you not go with Samson, Hadi, and Derek fighting it out? Like you said, 3 former, well, 1 current, obviously, the other 2 former Olympia champs. Hadi, God bless him. I hope to God he can get here. I hope Beirut can get here. It's sad when world visa issues are a problem. But anyway, assuming everybody can get here, you've got a hell of a competition sizing up here. With the addition of those 3 guys, you still got Fitzwater, who you can't discount, even though he kind of blew it in Pittsburgh. And by blew it, I mean he didn't come in 100%, folks. Let me rephrase that.
All apart.
By Martin not coming in and fulfilling his best on that day of the competition. He's still very formidable. Andrew Jack, I still think, has a Mr. Olympia physique. He continues to fill out that frame, and he's dangerous. Beirut, again, he's going to kick somebody out of the top 5. Nick, everybody thinks I hate him, and he's in 8th place. First of all, I amended that because I didn't know Hunter was not in the show, so I automatically moved him up to 7th. Nick's got his work cut out. Now, listen, Nick can go as high as 4th. He could. I'm not going to take that away from him. If everybody comes in on, he's going to have a more difficult time. But you got Nick in there. You got who are we missing here? Who are we missing?
Well, let me give it some quantification here. Your prediction earlier in the year was that you'd be announcing him in 8th place. But as we know, it's a moving target, right? These guys are still qualifying. These contests are taking place. The year is still moving on. He's positioned himself nicely. Yeah, a couple guys may not be in the Olympia. That's going to help him. He's getting better and bigger and whatever else. He's maturing. That's going to help him. He's growing into his confidence. He's got to make it to the contest. Can he wind up in the top 5, top 4? Absolutely. I mean, the guy's been there before. Why would we count him out? But he's going to have to go through 3 past Olympias. I think Brandon Curry is now the new Dexter Jackson this year.
Yeah, well,
Dexter Jackson's last Olympia in Florida, where Dexter retired, it was pretty predictable that he was probably going to be on his way out. I think Brandon Curry, we may be seeing the last of him this year, which doesn't say we're going to see the best of Brandon Curry, but we're going to see the best at the end of his career. And that might not be good enough with these guys being so much younger than Brandon Curry. So that's why he's not in the conversation for me when we're talking about the top 4. That being said, Brandon could be anywhere between 5th place and 9th place, which is not a slap in the face because that's the exact same thing that happened to Dexter Jackson, who's our
Yeah.
winningest bodybuilder of all time.
So here's my question to you, Shawn. If Nick Walker's a freak, which he clearly is, right? We say that in bodybuilding terms, that's a very endearing term, right? If he's a freak, what is Nextzilla?
Well, Nick is
Is
not
he
a
a
freak.
problem?
Nick is not a freak. Nick is a mutant. Okay,
There you go.
He's quick to say that. He's just not on our team. He's on some other team. But Nextzilla is the anomaly. He is the X factor in terms of the Godzilla showing up. He's the Victor Richards of our time, and I don't think he's going to be a threat to the top 5 because of the slabs of muscle. Right? He's going to be a freak. He's going to be a wonder to look at, but he's not put together in a way that represents the top 5 physiques on the planet. Again, an off Andrew Jatt, I still think beats an on Nextzilla. Nextzilla brings the freak factor. Our boy Andrew Jatt brings a very pretty, aesthetic, genetically superior physique. Even when he's off, I think he can beat someone like Nextzilla when he's on.
Well, I tell you this, where do you see Beirut in the mix? Because that's not a name, again, we don't know if he can get it. We're going to go on the idea that hopefully he finally can get her. If Beirut can get on the Olympia stage, Shawn, where do you see him in that top 5? Or do you see him in the top 5?
He would be in the top 4, in my opinion. He'd be a top 4 threat. It's very hypothetical. He's never made it to the Olympia. We live in a climate right now where it's even harder for him to go to the Olympia. So I wouldn't get my hopes up that he shows up at the Olympia.
All right. Well, I think we're going to wrap it up, bro. We've gone, what, an hour and 20 minutes. So it's pretty good. Hopefully we got to a lot of you guys out there with your questions. Hopefully we put a lot of this stuff to bed. Some of the stuff we're just going to absolutely bury and then basically hopefully never talk about it again because it's already way past its 15 minutes. And we've got Italy coming up, bro, as we mentioned at the top of the live. This is shaping up to be a good show. There's only a few qualifiers left, and there's a lot on the line here because I think a Quentin, should he be in the winner's circle or Urs? I still think Urs is going to surprise a lot of people, bro. I think those two are going to be the last 2 guys standing. Either one is a great addition in the Olympia. What a great story. What if Urs comes out, switches into the Open, nails it, and wins the show, and he's back on the Olympia stage in the Open?
It'll give us something to talk about this Labor Day weekend. On Saturday, I'll be in Monrovia at Ultraflex Gym, 9 o'clock in the morning, representing Dialed Moods Energy Drink. And again, on Labor Day, Monday, I'll be at the El Cajon, the gym, at 11 o'clock to 12 o'clock for Dialed Moods Energy Drinks, celebrating Labor Day with the gym franchise and CEO George Jackson. That's my weekend.
Here's last, of course, people want to pile in the last minute here. Tonio Burton should not be dismissed. Nobody's dismissing Tonio. He's an excellent bodybuilder. I believe, wasn't he 9th last year? I think he was snuck in the top 10 there, right?
Yeah, he'll be in the top 10 again. He'll be in the
He's
top
very
10.
listen. He's very consistent and he's very good. You got some other guys too. Hutchinson, who just won and qualified. He's got an excellent physique, a lot of muscle. He's going to be there. And, you still got Akeem. You still got some boys in there with some muscle. That's going to be. I tell you where the real competition. I mean, obviously the win is the real competition. But that 6 through 10 crew is going to be very difficult. There's going to be about 9 guys, 10 guys that could all literally place into that 6 through 10 crew. That's going to be a big one right there.
Yeah, I had a call come in. Sorry about that.
I'm
looking
Pittsburgh?
let's get past the Italy show.
Hey, was that Pittsburgh calling in?
They're not sending me a check just yet, but
yeah. All
we'll
right,
get you after the Labor Day weekend, brother.
Next week.
All right. Well, you know what? We're gonna call it a day
wrap
at that because we are.
I gotta get out of here.
Signal, but we will do an Italy preview next week. We'll be back with the regular edition and check out the new VOB Media. We have redone it, bigger, better. We're expanding, Shawn. We're going to do a whole lot of stuff that's when we're out at the shows and interviews and different things. So VOB podcast is now grown up and expanded to VOB Media. So check it out, everybody. Hit us in the comments. As always, that's me and Shawn on there. We'll do our best to get back with everybody. And hopefully we put together, we put to bed Team Delusional. We wish you the best, but you're literally just not in our league. So we're going to kind of bid you
Well, got to remember, Bob.
A fair goodbye.
What is it? We're always right, but never wrong.
We may not always be right, but we're never wrong. For Sugar Shawn Ray, I'm Bob Chick. We out of here.